Welcome to the Wild and Curious podcast, a show that's part travel,
part feminism,
and completely inspired by extraordinary women worldwide. I'm Theresa Christine.
And I'm Suzanne Schmedding.
One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about lately in our new decade, 2020,
right,
is the 19th Amendment. It seems like something that happened so long ago.
Right.
But it was really only 100 years ago that women were like, cool, we can finally vote. And not even all women, you know? As I've gotten older, I feel like I have gained so much love and respect for these women who I don't even know or like not related to, but just like these women who are fighting for the rights that I have today.
Yeah, it's incredible, you know, because it wasn't just an action that they took for them. It was something, yes, for them, but also like it's something that has a crazy long-lasting legacy that should have been given a right to in the very beginning and just wasn't. And they fought for that, which is incredibly cool.
Yeah. The suffragists are cool.
They are still cool.
I find something really wonderful about that for the women, like not just fighting the good fight, but like women on the front lines, like the ones who are really making the change. And that is one of those women that we get to chat with today.
Oh my God, I know. I'm so excited.
Keep it cool. Keep it cool, Suzanne. We're chatting today with Zina Bencheikh, who is the Regional General Manager for Intrepid Tourism for Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa.
And she has been lobbying since 2017 to help get more licenses and more opportunities for women in Morocco to be part of this very lucrative job market of being an adventure tour guide.
Yeah, well, in 2017, we've been given a goal by the company, by Intrepid, to double the number of female guides we have across the globe. And while this, seemed like an easy task for some countries, like, Europeans, Russians, Icelandic, they had actually more female guides than male. For me in Morocco, it was a pretty tough challenge because we had no female guide at all. So in a crew of, I think at that time was around 50 guides or tour leaders, all of them were male. So we had a goal to double, so I could have found one and, ticked. But I thought that wouldn't be enough. So I think, what happened really is I realized that if I wanted to find female women to do a tour leading job in Morocco, well, there was a big cultural barrier, clearly, and not just in Morocco, in the Middle East, in India, women were not seen, the society wouldn't see that this job was a suitable one for women. There was also another barrier, which was more around regulations and around how this job was regulated in Morocco specifically. So this is where I decided to take on the Ministry of Tourism and start my kind of lobbying work around, getting them to understand that there was a big business opportunity, that it was a really good thing to do, that it was a great job for women, and that we were really here to help to get things changes. And after a few years, managed to get the statute code change in Morocco, and the first ever national test was organized in 2018 by the Ministry of Tourism that allowed 1,000 people to become tour leaders and guides. And this is how we really got the opportunity to get more women working with us in the company as tour leaders, basically.
Being a tour guide that's a really good job in Morocco, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. So in Morocco and in a few countries of the Middle East, it's actually really well paid. It's often paid more than the minimum salary. In Morocco specifically, it's 5 to 6 times the minimum salary. So it's pretty empowering, and there's a lot of elements around with the commissions and tippings, and it's a job that is paid well, and this is why we thought why women would want to do it. And in addition to being paid, to be a job that is paid well, it's also what we call like a starting point job in our industry. So there are a lot of people around us in our business and in the industry in general that started as tour leader or tour guides. So some general managers, some operations managers, and so on. So why wouldn't women want to start to work to do this job while it could open up so many opportunities for them
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of crazy for me to think about, that when you started, there were no female guides whatsoever, and you lobbied to change that. And I guess it kind of makes me wonder, you've explained that there were some cultural barriers, and, a lot of prejudices. What was the general way of life for women in Morocco? I mean, what is the general way of life for women in Morocco?
It's very mixed, it's very mixed. It depends if we're in the cities or if we're in a rural area. And so if we look at, in general, there are 25% of women that work in the workforce, and that includes unpaid job. That includes undeclared job. So it's already a pretty low, stats for the country. But then if you look at rural area of the country, and it's almost half of the country is made of rural area, we have 70 to 80% of illiteracy rate around women. So it's even worse. We're not even talking about working, but we're talking about, being able to read and write. So it's a pretty tough country to be a woman, I want to say. And there are lots of things that should improve, in my opinion. And I love the fact that we can think that tourism can make a change in this way, because we are a touristic country and we are growing very, very nicely and fastly. We've been hosting 12 million tourists last year, and a lot of them from the United States. So it's actually good to use that in a way, or that industry, to create a better change for women, I think.
When you started lobbying in 2017 and were working towards making these changes, were people really excited and feeling ready? Was the general population thinking, no, we do not want women tour leaders? What were people doing as a reaction?
Well, I think it's changed with time. At the very beginning, I had a lot of reactions from people in our industry, in our business, that were challenging this whole idea. Why do we want female guides? Why do we want to double the number? Why? I mean, there are some guys who even told me in my face that, why we were trying to get their job out of them, and replace them with women. And still, very recently, I'm hearing still that, even sometimes it's sarcastic or just to have fun. But, with time, we kind of showed them how much this initiative has brought good publicity and advertisement to us in our business, and that we've been growing fast. We've been very successful as a business, and I want to think that it's thanks to that. And so we have now a lot of engaged leaders and engaged suppliers and people in our office that, are with us now, trying to even get more female guides and supporting them on the ground and all of this, because they see that it's actually beneficial. So it's above the cultural barrier. It makes business sense now, I want to say. So people are changing thanks to that. So at least, it's something. But the cultural barrier is strong in Morocco, but I want to say not as strong as maybe in India or in some countries in the Middle East. It's just about, I think it was just about showing that this job can be done by a woman and can be perfectly fine. I mean, it doesn't mean anything wrong about a woman, and a woman can be very professional and do this job very well, because we train them and we support them exactly the same that we do it for men. So if it's a passion, why not, and so we see a change, definitely see a change.
So that's one of the things that I've noticed about Intrepid Travel is they have a women's only tour, entire range to many destinations. And one of them is Morocco. So obviously you want to have a woman guide for a tour like that.
Yeah.
And what kind of growth have you seen in that particular range in Morocco? And also what kind of things make those tours unique that people can't do on a co-ed trip?
Yeah, so I guess when we came up with the idea to create these tours, well, we had no expectations, and especially not that it will be as successful as it was. We've grown the range from 3 destinations, I think, to around 12 or 13. We've just launched the newest one in Pakistan, actually, I think last week.
Yes,
so
that's so exciting. I have.
Really yeah, I want to do this one. Can't wait. But yeah, so we started with Morocco, Jordan, Iran, and then we expanded to Turkey, Kenya, India, and Nepal, and now we've got Pakistan and probably others that I forgot, but it's been growing 116% in 1 year time since we launched it. which is pretty big. It's become, we call it the more popular product idea in the history of Intrepid, and Intrepid has been there for 30 years, so it's pretty cool. I think why this product range worked, it's because it was really innovative in a way, and we didn't create these tours just to give opportunity to women to enjoy a holiday with women, and that's it. It was just not just the only idea. We really wanted to create products that were empowering for both sides. On the trip itself, the way we designed them, as you mentioned, they are guided by female guides, and in some places, for example, in Morocco, it will be a female mountain guide. The first and only female mountain guide back at that time in 2017 was leading this tour, and that means if we want to make this tour sustainable, we need more of them. And so that actually helped us with the lobbying process in a way when I was talking about make a business case out of that. But we've got some pretty unique experiences that a group of mixed men and women wouldn't be able to do because of the way these countries, the conservatism in these countries. So in Morocco, for example, the women who host us in the tours wouldn't be able to host us if the group was mixed. So we can create some unique connections between women, the women host and the women foreigners, because we created this framework and this around this tour. So experiences that you will have here in Morocco will be, making the traditional bread, learning how to cook the traditional couscous. It's a trek, so it's actually a pretty physical challenge that you will do, but you will do it among a group of women. There will not be any judgment from, maybe more powerful men around if you are a bit slow, if you don't reach, the objective. So it will be a much more confident kind of environment, and obviously, sharing the stories of all the women that we meet in the tour. That can be a woman muletier. I don't know if you know this word. It's a French word. There is no equivalent in English, but it means it's a person who in the trek, help to carry all the luggages and all the equipment, like a porter, but using a mule. So we call it a mule chair.
Oh, okay.
And so this job has never been done by a woman before, and because of this tour, we created the first woman mule chair of the country. And so that woman, instead of doing, work at home and taking care of her husband and children, is now having a job, and now and then is making money out of it. And she's really, really happy about that. So, this is typically the kind of things that, these tours are creating these opportunities and also, these unique experiences. And this is why I think it's been so successful.
Yeah, and I love the environment and being in a group with other women. It really just changes the interactions when it is just women. It seems silly on surface level, but there is some kind of deep, almost telepathic thing.
It creates sisterhoods, it's and there's a lot of our customers, when we ask them why they choose their trips, they will say, they're married, they have partners, but they just want to be alone for a weekend. They just want to do something different, or they, it's very interesting the kind of women we attract in these tours, and honestly, I think it's empowering for both sides. Really both sides. And for the host to see women coming from, foreign countries who are lawyers, who are doctors, who are, independent, and all of this, it's extremely empowering just to see them and to get to spend time with them. And I think this is a pretty big achievement in a way.
For sure. And I mean, talking about empowering, just what you have done, and I think the education aspect of things is so important, because when you give people that access to education, and then that leads to further equal opportunities, like these great paying jobs and these things that they wouldn't normally get to be able to do.
Well, I feel I have a responsibility to bring back to my community. So I'm thankful to work for a company that gives me this opportunity. And the reality is that I haven't been in Morocco all my life. I was born here, but I'm from parents who are both academics and, have PhDs and are highly educated and traveled the world before deciding to coming back. And for me, the fact that I got this chance to get access to the best level of education and to travel the world, and this is something that I know is pretty unique as a Moroccan, and I have a responsibility to bring this back to the women who didn't have that opportunity. And obviously there are a lot of them. So it's good that I'm able to do it within my job. So, acting as a role model is already, big, because, when women in our office see someone like me in the positions I am, it's already very empowering and giving them some kind of, goals and that they feel they can achieve now, but in the same time doing more, and as you said, working with the association and product and with the all these initiatives to support women of my country. I feel it's a responsibility now, so I'm not going to stop.
Absolutely. And I mean, just with that, I think you had mentioned before that you were working with Education for All and, just really helping to set up these new tests for guides. And I think it's such an exciting endeavor. And I guess I'm wondering, with all these new measures and schools and actions kind of taking place, where do you see the industry going from here for women?
Oh, well, I think the industry is doing better than other industries. And especially since I'm involved in these women empowerment talks, I attend a lot of conferences and forums, and I learned so much in the past 2 years. I can see, from the stats and from what I see is that we are in an travel industry that is actually a bit more advanced than other industry in terms of, women empowerment in the stats, women ministers, women in the leadership positions and all this, but we're still, we're still not there. I mean, equality is still not there, and mostly in countries, like my country or countries of Africa or whatever we call them. So there's still a lot to do. What I found amazing is that the tourism industry has a big potential to create change. I've seen it myself. This is what we've been talking about, are examples of that. It's an industry that's easy to reach. It's an industry that we talk about education, doesn't require a very high level of education. There are a lot of women who can make, their money out of cooking, their money out of, service jobs that don't really require a very high level of education and university degrees and stuff like that. So this is, again, something I've learned and I've seen happen. So, and also the, touristic countries, in the Middle East, in Africa, in developing world in general, rely on tourism dollars. So, and, the industry, the tourism industry, acts the right way, can really create a difference in these countries, because these countries rely on the tourism dollar. So, having a big company that is Australian, like Intrepid Travel, that creates those tours and that kind of make a business case out of them, with goals like doubling female guides and stuff like that, is definitely creating an impact in these destinations and communities. So in a way, we are in a good industry to create a change, I think, for women and for women empowerment.
All right, so how much do you love Zina?
Oh my God. It was very hard to remain cool, but I think I did an excellent job because all I wanted to say was, can I be you? But also, I really wanted to get to know her and be her friend and, just do part of the work. She's so inspiring and cool.
She's so great. I really like too how she recognizes the privilege that she's had in her life. And, she wasn't here in the room with us, but you could hear her smiling when she's like, I'm a really lucky Moroccan woman. And just the fact that she is there in Morocco and,
she's
helping women get these rights.
Yeah, she's going back to her roots. She's spent her life traveling and abroad with these very educated parents. She could have easily stayed in a country that, maybe had a little bit more equality, but she went back to her home country and is fighting the good fight.
It's also something to point out about the education aspect, where that really makes all the difference. And when women are not given access to the same education, then it just changes the trajectory of their lives.
It absolutely does. And when they were talking about the group that they work with, Education for All, and how they go into rural communities and they provide these resources and what a difference it makes in their lives. I think the work they are doing is so incredible. I think I'm just going to go sign up to work with them.
Do it.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I support you.
Thanks. And if you, like me, are super excited to hear more about what Zina is doing or what Education for All is doing, you can check out intrepidtravel.com to learn more about their tours in Morocco and how they partner with Education for All. We will put those in the show notes.
You've been listening to the Wild and Curious podcast, hosted by me, Theresa Christine.
And me, Suzanne Schmedding. If you've enjoyed this episode, there's more where this came from. Subscribe to the Wild and Curious podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also follow along with our adventures on Instagram. Our handle is @_the Wild and Curious_ And we will also put that in the show notes for you.
We are always looking for extraordinary women to talk to you on our show. If you have someone in mind or you are that someone, go to thewildandcurious.com to let us know.